Welcome. This explainer is produced by EasyPathUni in coordination with Yazan Ibrahim, and we're about to cover the summary of key concepts in ISO 19011 auditing. We're going to keep things simple and clear and use some real-world examples to help you really get a handle on every concept and how you can apply it. So, let's get right into it.
Okay, first things first, let's tackle a huge misconception. When you hear that word audit, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of folks, it's about checking boxes, finding mistakes, and maybe a little bit of finger pointing. But is that really what it's all about? Not even close. A really effective audit, the kind that's guided by ISO 19011, is actually a powerful tool for finding opportunities. The real goal here is to create value and to drive improvement. Think of this explainer as your playbook for doing just that. So to kick things off, we've got to reframe our whole perspective. We're moving beyond that simple checklist mentality and starting to see the audit for what it truly can be, a strategic tool for growth and positive change. So what guides a good audit? What keeps it on the right track? Well, let's get into the core principles. You can think of these as the auditor's compass. They provide the ethical and professional North Star for everything that comes next. And it all starts with the auditor's own mindset. First up is integrity. Being honest and ethical, that's totally non-negotiable. And right alongside that, you've got due professional care. That's your commitment to being diligent, to bringing your skills to the table, and to using sound judgment in every single situation. Now, building on top of that personal mindset, the audit's overall approach has to be just as solid. Independence is absolutely critical. It means your conclusions have to be objective, totally free from bias. And every single finding has to be grounded in an evidence-based approach. Bottom line, if you can't verify it with facts, it's just an opinion. And to round out our compass, we've got three more essentials. Fair presentation, which means you report everything truthfully, the good, the bad, all of it. Confidentiality, because you have to protect sensitive information. And finally, the risk-based approach. This is all about making sure you focus your time and energy where it matters most, on the areas that have the biggest potential impact. Okay, so with our guiding principles locked in, we can now look at the actual blueprint for action. This is the practical, step-by-step process for pulling off an effective audit from start to finish. You know, every successful audit follows these 5 clear stages. It all starts with careful planning, then you move into execution to gather your evidence, and then the analysis, where you figure out what's really going on. After that, you report your findings, and, this is so important, you follow up to make sure those improvements actually get made. Let's zoom in on that analysis stage for a sec. See, it's not enough to just spot a problem. You've got to dig down to the root cause. For instance, if you're seeing errors in a procurement process, you could use the 5 whys technique. You literally just keep asking why until you can't ask it anymore. Or you could use a fishbone diagram to map out all the potential causes. These tools help you recommend real solutions, not just temporary fixes. And throughout this entire process, the auditor is wearing a lot of hats. It's about maintaining a healthy professional skepticism, communicating clearly, documenting everything, and above all, staying objective. The end goal is always to provide recommendations that are actionable and, you guessed it, backed by that solid evidence we keep talking about. This brings us to the most important part, right? How do we take all these principles and processes and connect them to what really matters? How do we actually use an audit to drive tangible, real-world improvement? This quote just nails it, shifting your mindset from seeing an audit as just a compliance check to seeing it as a search for opportunities. Well, that's the whole ballgame. When everyone involved sees the audit as a tool for positive change, the entire process becomes more collaborative and way more effective. So, to really maximize that positive impact, here are a few best practices. Fostering a culture of trust and open communication is number 1. Using technology can make your work so much more efficient, and just like any other professional, committing to ongoing training and actually learning from every single audit, well, that's what separates a good auditor from a truly great one. But look, this can't just be theory. We want you to be able to put these ideas into practice right away. So let's talk about a concrete action plan you can use for your very next audit. Here's your game plan. Start by engaging with the people you're auditing early on to set clear, mutual goals. Don't just grab a generic checklist. Customize it for the situation. Stay flexible during the audit itself. And when you present your findings, focus the entire conversation on constructive solutions, not on placing blame. And finally, measure your success so you can see the real impact. So, we've walked through the principles, the process, and the best practices. Now let's bring it all home and focus on what this means for your next audit.
As you prepare for that next audit, I want you to leave with this question. Don't just think about compliance or what's wrong. Instead, ask yourself this: what is the single greatest opportunity for positive change and improvement that you can help this organization discover? Because that, right there, is the real power of a well-executed audit.